KMES English Medium Junior College welcomes its students for 16th online lecture of psychology for chapter 4 cognitive processes. For the topic thinking. Students, in the previous lecture, we have studied about the cognitive processes, attention and perception. In that we have seen that cognitive process includes all the processes underlying mental activities like attention, perception, learning, memory, problem solving, thinking, etc. We have also seen that attention includes selecting few stimuli from memory and bringing them into the center of awareness. There are various aspects of attention like span of attention, distraction of attention, division of attention, fluctuation of attention, etc. We have seen that perception is the process of assigning meaning to the information that we receive about the environment. We make us both top-down process and bottom-up processes. While possible, there are various laws that govern perceptual grouping, like proximity, similarity, continuity, closure, etc. In today's lecture, we are going to look about thinking, one of the cognitive processes. So, let's come to the topic of today. Students, coming to the topic of today, that is 4.4, thinking. This topic includes following subtopics. 1. 4.4.1, that is definition and core element of thinking. Second, 4.4.2, types of thinking. Let's look each of these three topics in detail. 4.4.1, definition of thinking. Thinking is the mental activity that uses various cognitive elements and processes that involve manipulation of information, problem solving, reasoning, as well as decision making. So, thinking is the mental activity that makes use of idea or symbol instead of overt activity. So, thinking is a covert activity. There are different types of thinking, like perceptual thinking, concrete thinking, reflective thinking, creative thinking, etc. Let's understand more about thinking. Imagine that your friend asks you to help him to solve a mathematical problem. You are not able to answer him immediately. After waiting for few minutes, he urges you to answer quickly. You might respond by saying, "Wait, I am thinking on it." This is the process of thinking. Now, what exactly you do when you are thinking? While we are thinking, we recognize what there is in some mathematical problem, retrieve from various formulas taught to us, find out why a particular formula may or may not fit or work on it. So, the different processes that you apply to solve that problem that include in the process of thinking. Core element of thinking. If you analyze all the mental activity involved in thinking, you will find that thinking seems to private and internal to ourselves. While thinking, we create a world within us and we run through various actions, symbolism rather than in reality. What actually we do in thinking? We reason for everything. These reasons are based on following things. All reasoning is based on assumption. All reasoning has a purpose. All reasoning is an attempt to figure something out, to settle some question, to solve some problem. All reasoning is based on data, information and evidence. All reasoning is done for something, from some point of view. So, there are certain core elements of this thinking. The core elements of thinking are mental representation, concept, sigma, and language. Let us learn all these core elements in detail. Coming to the first core element of thinking, that is mental representation. Mental representation is the mental image of a thinking that is not currently physically available to the senses. Mental representation is a code that internal sensation. Internal representations are acquired through direct experience, through sense organ or through indirect experience, such as narration, picture, videos, etc. Internal representation form the basis for all the cognitive processes. So, mental representation it is a coded internal sensation acquired by direct experience through the sense organ or by indirect experience such as narration, picture, etc. Mental representation is a mental imaginary with the help of which the brain codes and stores the information. It is like a hypothetical internal cognitive symbol used by the brain to represent external reality. For example, if you are to close your eyes and imagine a peacock in your mind, the visual image of the peacock with its colorful feathers immediately comes to your mind. This refers to mental imaginary of an object. Coming to the second core element of thinking, concept. Concept is an internal representation which the brain uses to denote a certain classes of things in the world. The concept involves abstraction of some idea on the basis of similarity and differences among sensations. For example, a child forms a mental representation of cow. Therefore, he starts breathing some ideas about what a cow means. That is, it is a four-legged animal with head, body, tail, horn, etc. He is thus forming a concept of a cow. Concepts form the basis for all the cognitive process. Various concepts act as building blocks by connecting with each other and forming more complex concepts like sigma. So, concept means they form the basis from all cognitive processes, act as a leading blocks by connecting with one another to form a more complex concept. Concepts involve abstraction of some idea on the basis of similarity and differences among the sensations. A concept is an idea which represents a class of objects, situations, etc., with differentiating it from other class of objects, situations, etc. For example, if a child forms a mental image of dog, he drives an idea of something similar in all examples of dog that he has seen it, tail for barking, etc. Thus he formed the concept of the. If he mistaken to identify as a cat as a dog, he would correct it by otherwise. Thus he tried to compare the mental image of dog and cat. He has now learned to redefine two concepts, that is dog and cat. Coming to the third core element of thinking, sigma. It is an internal representation that organizes knowledge about related concepts and relative relationships among them. Stigma influences most of the cognitive process. So, it is an internal representation that organizes knowledge with related concepts and relationships among them. It involves arranging many concepts in a particular system or organization. It describes a pattern of thoughts and behavior that recognize the organism categories of information and the relationship among them. For example, a child tries to organize the concept that he has learned in a systematic way to generate a higher order understanding of pattern about information collected. For example, when a child visits a zoo for the first time, image and the concept of animals, different animals, their homes, cages, displays, public, etc. are activated in the brain simultaneously. Thus we establish the connection between them. This leads to the formation of sigma of a Jew. Language. It is the fourth core element of thinking. Language is a system of symbols, mental representation, concept and sigma are all better represented by language. For example, the word cat stands for cat. So the word cat is a symbol for a cat. Thinking by using language is a distinctive feature of human being thinking process. So, mental representation is sensory experience in the form of mental image in the brain. Many similar mental representations denote concepts, while many concepts put in a particular relationship to each other is sigma. Students, coming to the second topic of today's lecture, that is 4.4.2 types of thinking. Basically, in our syllabus, there is two types of thinking. One is problem solving and another is creative thinking. But problem solving is being omitted for this academic year 2021. So coming to the second type of thinking, creative thinking. Students, let us understand the creative thinking in detail. Creative thinking. Creativity is characterized by the ability to perceive the world in new ways, to find hidden patterns, to make connections between seemingly unrelated phenomena, and to generate solutions. Scientists, musicians, poets, fashion designers, interior decorator, etc. always think in a creative way. Creative thinking seems to be having following four sequential stages. So, creative thinking is characterized by the ability to perceive the world in new ways. It is to find hidden patterns. It is a way of looking at problems or situations from a fresh, novel perspective. It involves divergent thinking that focus on explorations of ideas and generating many possibilities. It is referred to as thinking outside of the box. Researchers, poets, designers, filmmakers always keep thinking in a creative way. The four stages of creative thinking are preparation, incubation, illumination, verification. Let's study each of these stages in detail. Coming to the first sequential stage of creative thinking, that is preparation. Preparation, it is a stage of formulating the problem and gathering information, material, etc. for finding new solutions. Creative ideas do not come from a vacuum. Many tentative solutions are tried out and discarded. No progress seems to be made in this stage. For example, if a poet wants to write a song for a particular movie, he may start preparing for it by brainstorming, reading, gathering his own past experience or anything that can help him to move toward finding a new solution. So all the steps, that is brainstorming, reading, gathering information, are sort of preparation to find a new solution. Coming to the second stage of creative thinking. Incubation. After preparation, a person starts working on a problem but may not get the required solution. This initial failure leads to the stage of incubation. During this stage, the person is so frustrated that he thinks to give up. The person then leaves the problem and focuses on other things which are unrelated to problems. Incubation may help the person to work on the problem without consciously thinking about it. This period, though appears to be non-fruitful, is followed by a person of sudden appearance to a solution. So, in incubation, if a person does not get the required result, he may focus on things unrelated to that problem. This period helps to work out the problem without consciously thinking about it. Incubation period appears to be non-fruitful. For example, a poet may start writing some lines for a new poem. He may feel that the lines written are inappropriate. He may write for 2 days straight, then may give up, and then may not write for a week. During this week of incubation, he may follow his routine like going to gym, eating, watching movies, talking to friends, etc. So, the relaxation period from the type of work the person is performing is a period of incubation. Coming to the third stage of creative thinking, illumination. After incubation, suddenly, like a flash of light, the correct solution appears in front of the mind. I and the person experience a rush of excitement. All the bits and the piece of idea which appear to be unrelated earlier fall into places. The solution that appears is nearly next to perfect. The person experiences an emotional reaction of joy, knowing that she may have found a new idea, a solution. For example, a poet will suddenly find the exact line that he was searching for weeks together. This will be a last moment for him. So, after incubation, suddenly the correct solution appears to the person, due to which he experienced excitement. It seems that the solution fallen into the place. Coming to the last stage of creative thinking, verification. Following the previous stage, the new solution still needs to be tested. In most cases, it requires only minor change, but sometimes it may require a lifetime to study, testing and retesting. For example, a poet will write new poem on a paper, will read it again and again, will check whether any word line is still to be changed. This is the stage of verification. Let's have another example for all this stage. for all the stages. For example, if a teacher asks a student to think on unusual use for a bottle, a student will begin brainstorming. The student will come up with many uses. For example, to store liquid, to hold plants, etc. But these are not unusual uses. They will give up and focus on something else. The student will suddenly find new novel use of bottle, for example, in juggling, etc. The student will verify this solution with their teacher. So, this is another example of preparation, inclusion, illumination and verification respectively.